Yeah, welcome back. You're still watching Business Money. Now let's go straight to the first conversation for today, talking about agribusiness spotlight, unlocking growth through nut processing in Nigeria. Nigeria's agribusiness landscape is experiencing renewed momentum, and one of the most promising frontiers is nut processing, a sector with vast domestic potential and strong export demand, from cashew and groundnut to shea and tiger nuts. The country holds a rich supply base that remains largely underutilized due to weak processing capacity, market inefficiencies, and limited value addition. Industry analysts say that while Nigeria ranks among Africa's top producers of several key nuts, more than 70% of its raw outputs are exported without processing, which is causing the country to miss out on billions of naira in value-added earnings. The global market for processed nuts, ranging from roasted kernels and nut flours to oils and confectionery ingredients, is projected to rise steadily, driven by growing demand for healthy snacks, plant-based protein, cosmetics, and pharmaceutical inputs. And local entrepreneurs are beginning to take advantage. Emerging processing hubs in Oyo, Ogun, Kwara, and Kaduna states are investing in modern shelling, drying, sorting, and packaging technologies to improve quality and meet export standards. Stakeholders say prioritizing these investments will create jobs for rural farmers, strengthen value chains, and improve Nigeria's non-oil revenue. However, industry experts highlight persistent challenges, including high energy costs, weak access to finance, supply chain disruptions, and the dominance of middlemen who reduce margins for smallholder farmers. Analysts insist that a coordinated policy push covering extension services, mechanization, export incentives, and training for women-led processing clusters could unlock the sector's full potential. Now, as global buyers continue to shift towards sustainable and traceable sourcing, Nigeria has a strategic opportunity to become a nut processing powerhouse in West Africa. With the right investment and improved infrastructure, the country can move from exporting raw commodities to becoming a major supplier of refined, high-value nut products to regional and international markets. And our joining us is an entrepreneur and a business strategist, and she is the founder, Nut Place, a food innovation company, in the person of Chigozie Bashua, live in the studio this morning. Good to have you.
Thank you.
I hope the traffic wasn't so much getting in here this morning.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
All right, so good to have you.
Thank you.
Okay, now very quickly on sector overview and even opportunities. How would you access the current state of the nut processing industry in Nigeria and West Africa?
So I would say that right now, nut processing the opportunities are there.
Okay.
And in terms of raw nuts, we have them in abundance. However, we are at our early stages when it comes to value addition.
Oh, wow.
And so while we have abundance of nuts and their export potential, but when it comes to processing, when it comes to packaging, when it comes to the value addition where the real money is, we are still at the bottom of the value chain. And this is because we lack sufficient processing facilities, standardized facilities, I must say, and we lack certain infrastructure. Also the technologies, the technologies that affect the recent trends in nut processing, we really do not have them. And so that's why we're still at the bottom of a value chain when it comes to where the money is in nut processing.
Okay, now I don't know, normally when people go into, agriculture, they tend to want to get vast land, to start producing different kinds of food so they can, sell in large quantities, especially even eggs, when people are even going into livestock because of eggs and all of that. But you chose the nuts business. I'm sure that you saw a lot of potential in it.
Yeah.
So what is the nut place actually doing about this? Do you have the machines to actually grind this nuts into fine powder and then bring something out of it that we do not really know about?
Okay, so like I said, it's really like an untapped sector in within the agribusiness, because nut processing lies at the intersection of agriculture, manufacturing, and export.
Yeah.
So you can have a wide variety of products from just those nuts. So what we do is we process them into, so we have the roasted nuts, which is adding value to the raw nuts. But outside that, we process them into healthy flours. We process them into bars, into oils and milk. A lot of people are becoming lactose intolerant. And so we provide plant-based solutions to that, and that's where we have the coconut milk, that's where we have the tiger nut milk. We have healthy flours like the coconut flour, the tiger nut flour, and the bambara flours. So there's a whole lot within that value chain, and there's as much as you can do as one person. However, we are on a trajectory to ensure that within that particular sector, we produce as much as we can.
Nice. So now, what major opportunities actually exist for investors in cashew, groundnut, shea, and tiger nut processing?
There's a whole lot of opportunity. So cashew is one of the major nuts that Nigeria is known for. It is one of the nuts that have been recognized as Nigerians' plan in the non-oil sector. So exporting the raw nut itself brings in money.
Sure.
However, raw cashew nuts being exported surrenders like about 70 to 90% of the market value to Vietnam, to Europe, to the US, and these countries are they are the ones that really do the bulk of the processing. And that is because we lack sufficient equipment for deshelling, for a certain level of processing before we get to the roasting aspect. So we surrender the bulk of the market value to these countries when we export the raw nuts. And so there is an opportunity within that value. I mean, you don't even have to get to the end of roasting.
Sure.
All you need to do is provide the equipment for the deshelling, and the bulk of the money stays there. And then we now move to things like the shea. Recently, the government banned exportation of shea for 6 months.
Refined
While
products.
that is a step in the right direction, however, I feel that we need to, it is counterproductive if we do not tie the end of the processing line. So there are lots of small players in the raw shea value chain. But when it comes to processing refined shea butter, that's where we start having the problem. And so when we export the raw shea butter, people then process, and then we buy back the products in
refined format.
In refined formats, more expensive prices. So you find out that we do not retain the foreign exchange because we've given them out. And then there is and as we give them out, we're also giving out the jobs that come with this. So there are lots of opportunities that investors can tap into. And then there are the byproducts also, the byproduct of nuts. I mean, from cashews, you can have resin oil, you can have the brick pads and the paints. And yet again, we do not, it's only when we get to processing these nuts that we now get the byproducts.
But the thing is, I mean, sorry to cut you there, but Africans, are the ones that are actually refining these products into what they are to still bring back to their countries. Because I don't think these Westerners will actually do these themselves. The bulk of the laborers they have, they are blacks. I don't understand why we do not tap into these potentials. And that's why people are really afraid right now, for the insecurity thing that the US is coming to fight for us. And then they're seeing it the other way around, that they're coming for something else, other than the insecurity, that is on the fore. Do you agree with this?
So that is subject to people's assumptions, I must say. And I don't think that has anything to do with we having a strategy for refining our products, really. We can have a strategy to sell refined products instead of a raw material. We can provide, Nigeria is rich in resources. We can provide the capital for funding. Provide processors with funding at single digit loans. The commercial banks, the interest loans are killing. And within agriculture, if you do not provide a single digit loan, at best you're playing. Because the ROI is long, so you need to provide them with you can't strangulate them, because these interest loans strangle the processor. So at best, they just leave it and go into primary agriculture, and that's it.
Wow. So now, why is value addition critical in actually transforming Nigeria's nut production into globally competitive products?
Okay, firstly, we get to stand, we get to sit on the shelves and get to compete fairly, when we add value and then export the refined or the processed products. So, and then you have more Nigerian or West African brands sitting on the shelves of the European retail outlets, or the US retail outlets, or the United Kingdom, depending on where. So that's one. And then two, the foreign exchange for the country is then, we're no longer sending that out. Yeah, we're retaining it in the country. And then what of jobs? We now provide more jobs for people, because outside the people at the low end, the pickers, the sorters, and all that, we need people that will process. We need people that will be at the mid-level, would have jobs at the mid-level, and that's where some of the processing takes place before we even get to the top. So that it helps with our job creation. And when you can provide jobs for your people, purchasing power increases, standard of living increases, then you can empower your people. There is more economic prosperity when you provide jobs for people.
Okay, now on policy standards as well as regulations, are current government policies supportive of the nut processing sector? And if yes, what reforms are urgently needed?
Okay, so I'll say yes, because we have the Cashew Association of Nigeria, and there's some partnership between the government and the association, and then we have the Export Promotion Council that has a directory, for cashews and all that. However, we need to do more. Currently, people battle with certifications, NAFDAC, SON, a lot of certifications, and it takes time and a whole lot of resources to get all that. So it's so time consuming. However, we can digitalize these things and, put them in a single window where people, all you need to do is upload your lab results and all that, and then we can have NAFDAC issue you the number, the SON, whatever, you can have them in one digital window instead of having to run from pillar to post because you want like about 4 certifications. And then we now have a phytosanitary certificate, which is time consuming, but we can automate it, so we talk about technology, but we need to apply that when it comes to that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then, all those regulations, we need to get a policy around it so that people are not frustrated. Because that is what is happening. People are frustrated, and then, after a while, you're asking yourself, so what's the point?
At the end of the day,
what's the point?
Looks like a wasted effort.
Exactly.
But then again, how can Nigeria simplify export certification and quality standards to attract more international buyers?
So currently the NPC helps out with HACCP certification, at least to the best of their capability. However, I believe we can do better, you know, help out, because these certifications costs, they're expensive.
Expensive.
So we can help, I mean, do more regarding certification.
Okay.
And then there are certain certifications that are required for people to export. And the small processors really do not have that.
All right.
Yeah, and so I think that having these trainings and helping out with the certifications can assist in helping the small exporters, the people at the lower exporting category. Yeah, help them with their exportation. And also, like we said about digitalizing the certification, our own internal certification process, we need to do better with that. So we can tie policy to all that to help us. Yeah.
So now what innovations are needed to reduce energy costs in processing plants?
Okay, so we speak about climate change, we talk about energy reduction, and we need to start looking at energy efficient dehydrators, dryers, solar systems. I mean, we live in a place where the sun is up every day, you know, and we need to utilize some of those rays, you know, for our production and for our processing. So we need more energy efficient machinery for that. We also need that at the packaging. So really, production plants need to run on energy efficient machines. Yeah, in order to help, you know, the electricity situation we have in the country. Yeah.
All right, now looking at the future outlook, right? Where do you see Nigeria's nut processing industry in the next 5 to 10 years, given that gap?
Next 5 to 10 years. I mean, so I believe that the ball lies in our court.
Okay.
And with the right strategy, with the right vision, we can go places. And we need to really sit down and have like a public-private partnership.
Okay.
You know, government and the people that do the heavy duty, which are the processors, and work around the issues that they face so that we're able to simplify things for them. That way, we're able to take some brands and take them, export their products. And then we also look at the regions also. We can work with our brothers in other African countries that also produce what we produce. We can learn from them also at certain areas where we think we're weak and they are strong. So we need to work around regional partnerships and also public-private partnerships so that we're able to export more. We're able to put our brands out there.
Okay.
Yeah, so I believe if we do that in the next 5 years, we'll be a force to reckon with.
So why should we, you know, walk up to the nuts place and have something to do with the nuts place and, you know, and gather more momentum and knowledge and, you know, be better at I mean, things happening in the nut industry from the nuts place?
Okay, so at the nut place, we convert our locally grown nuts into processed food and giving people healthy alternatives. So if you're probably have a diet preference, you know, you have a diet need, and instead of you want to probably go off carbohydrates and all that, you can find health alternatives. And because it's not, you know, they are purely gluten-free. So you don't have to wonder, am I having gluten-free food or not? Is there anything? So we pride ourselves, one of our selling points is that we pride ourselves in providing gluten-free food products that is devoid of processed sugar and and of course, high quality products.
Products,
So at the nut place, you are guaranteed of healthy products, quality products, and we are knowledgeable to enough to give you exactly what you want, and not just what is obtainable within the country, but I dare say what is also obtainable outside the country. Yeah.
All right. All right. We've been talking to Chigozie. Can you help me with your surname again?
Bashua.
Bashua, because I do not want to make that mistake.
Yeah.
And so she's the founder of the Nut Place, and she has given us insights why we should do nuts. She has given us insight why the nut industry should blossom in Nigeria. We should take advantage of what we have and, do the needful, start doing the needful so that we can gain this more rather than leaving the shores and coming back to us as refined a product. It's been so good having you on board our
Thank you
Business
for
Morning
having
segment
me.
this morning. I want to appreciate you for coming to join us here on the short notice. Business Morning will be right back after this break. Stay with us.